Talking about flannel.
Flannel, eh?
A lot of my coworkers have been wearing flannel recently.
I think it's pronounced flannel.
Like the Harry Potter character?
Who?
Luminous Fennel?
I don't... I'm sorry.
Nicholas
Harry
Flamel.
Potter doesn't exist anymore.
That's true.
Harry Potter totally exists.
I keep wanting to, like, kind of rewatch the movies, because I haven't seen them in a very long time. My taste in movies has, like, changed a bunch.
Just wait for the Harry Potter RPG to come out.
Hasn't it already come out already? Isn't there, like, a Harry Potter gacha also?
There's a gacha. I was thinking about downloading it, but then I was like, I'll just play more Arknights.
Hey everybody, welcome to Screen Weens.
Oh, we were recording.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 115. Wow. Holy shit.
It's almost
Crazy.
Halloween.
It's almost
It's
Halloween,
almost
baby.
Halloween. One more episode, which will be on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Come out. Yeah.
It's pretty powerful.
But today, we'll be talking about The Invisible Man.
The Invisible,
Hollow Man and The Invisible Man.
the Invisible Men.
Invisible Man.
Invisible kid, never see what he did. Falling through the grid.
As a reminder, me and Thomas are here. We're your hosts. And joining us today is Mr. Joe
Yo!
and Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
Pierre's really sad because
Pierre did not get a chance to watch all three of the movies, so he's really, really sad.
I asked you if you wanted me to watch a third movie.
I
And London said
yes.
But the third movie I said, you said no.
You can't just pick a different movie.
Okay, to anyone who's actually watching this, I have a quick question. If you could go into the comment section and please agree with me that the podcast...
please, I'm losing this argument. I need support.
The podcast should be London and Thomas and whoever else is here watch at least one movie, and then they talk about it, and then they fight each other to see who watched the better movie.
Wait, like physically or
Physically, verbally, conflict
Yu-Gi-Oh!
takes many forms.
Uh-huh.
So please,
What does-
because honestly, I feel like the podcast needs to be shook up a little. Yeah.
You're welcome.
They're like holding a cat and shaking it.
For the audio listeners, Thomas shook the camera that we were using. to
I'm
record.
sure they probably heard it.
Probably.
London's like sweating because he knows
London's
that the majority is going to overrule him.
That's not
The
Pierre.
majority should just be Pierre going, wow, this guy's really smart on here. Oh, I think his ideas are
No, but
brilliant.
I might be typing in German though. You're based in Germany or something.
Then we'll just know it's you.
Yeah, we've never had any comments from... We've had scarce comments that are from, like, the handful. But,
Is a handful of country?
We get,
no, like, occasionally Pierre, occasionally Julia.
Pierre, quick, go open the door.
Uh-oh.
Never mind, I think she got in.
Oh,
We had to let the invisible woman in.
Never mind, she's in.
She's in.
We're good.
We got it. We're done. Okay. What is happening?
We were checking if Allie wanted to be on the podcast.
They said no and turned around and walked away. The moment I brought up the podcast.
Yeah, they're like, not again. It's not in my contract.
Too many people in there at the moment.
That's fair. That's very fair.
But
When we on the podcast, we watched that movie where that girl turned herself into a cat because that guy she likes cats.
What?
what was that called?
A whisker away.
A whisker
or
away,
something
yeah.
like that.
That's
Or a whisker tail.
Was this this sounds like a decom. Was it a decom?
It
No,
felt
it's
like
an anime.
It felt like it though.
Did Bridget Mendler voice the main character?
I wish.
What the hell? Then why is it worth? It's not worth my time then.
It came out like last year.
And?
We watched it like the day it came on Netflix or some shit.
Oh, I remember you guys watching that.
That was good.
I don't believe you when
It was
you say
okay.
words.
I think I gave it a 5 out of 10. Like, it was fine. Anyway, let's do as we always do and talk about what else we've done this week. Thomas, what have you done?
Work
Nice.
and Minecraft.
Minecraft?
Steve!
That's a shocker. What got you back into Minecraft? Playing with other people or playing by yourself?
Yeah, Philip was playing,
Good
so
old
he
Philip.
opened up a realm, and been making a little sky island. Nothing great so far.
Skytopia.
But yeah.
Skype.
Skytopia.
Epic.
Yeah.
Did you watch anything else or just been playing Minecraft?
Just Minecraft work. It's also, like, we did see each other, 4 days ago?
Yeah.
That's right.
You're gonna watch a Minecraft movie?
I don't know about that. I'm not that invested in the lore.
You're not invested in the Minecraft.
About Herobrine.
That's half the... Exactly. There's a generation of kids that probably don't know about Herobrine.
I don't.
Like, everyone around my age group was playing Minecraft when it was coming out, but I just didn't, and then...
Now you're playing Minecraft.
That's
I
where
play it every
was.
once in a while.
It's fair.
It's
Yeah.
a fun little game.
Remember 7th grade London, you pulled out your laptop and you're like, Joe, have you ever heard of a game called Minecraft?
He did the same thing to me.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I found out about Minecraft before a lot of people.
Yeah.
For some, and I think it was from. I think the first Minecraft video I watched was by C Nanners,
The
who I
goat.
only ever watched for Minecraft,
That's
and he only made like 12 videos on Minecraft.
That's the weirdest thing to have gone to see Nanners
Yeah.
for. Because, which is funny to me, because, I was, very much, around, the Call of Duty commentator machinima scene at the time. And, C Nanners was fucking huge.
Yeah. But I'm like, every time I watched this, I'm like, these aren't good, as Minecraft videos.
That's true.
And then I started watching, Yogg's Cast and Captain Sparkles.
Oh, Captain Sparkles.
I watched a shit ton of Minecraft YouTubers that had 1,000 subscribers.
Same.
How the fuck did I find these people? I don't know how I found things growing up. I don't remember. I just remember knowing them.
See, I've gone, over the years, because I've had basically, the same 1 or 2 Google accounts and the same YouTube accounts. So, I've done, sweeping purges of, I don't care about, random, you said, random Minecraft YouTuber, 100 subs, and, how did it get here?
Yeah.
YouTube used to be a lot smaller and easier to find
Oh, yeah,
smaller
absolutely.
creators than it is today, though.
I don't know. It depends on what your recommended does. My recommended likes to throw me videos that are released 8 hours ago, 1,000 views. I'm like,
That is
Okay.
true. The algorithm does kind of toss them around.
but also I watch just a lot of long form video essays. So any schmuck that's making those usually gets thrown my way at some point or another.
Yeah, I feel that. I don't even really watch those anymore, and I still get tons of them recommended
Oh,
to me.
love them. Some of my favorite content on the internet right now.
I love them if they're One Piece related, but
That's
you
fair.
know, it's just me. Pierre's just
Pierre, are you judging me right now?
I mean, I saw a video last night of a kitten crawling out of its kennel into the kennel of a puppy that was nearby in a pet store, and then they were friends. That's premium YouTube content.
I've seen that video on TikTok.
The
Oh.
premium Tic Tac content.
Okay, that's what Thomas has done this week. Joe, what have you done this week?
Not a whole lot. Applied to some jobs.
Swag?
See what else. Played some Magic as a Gathering.
Not swag.
Been getting into No Man's Sky, which is pretty fun.
Also not swag.
It's pretty cool. It's fun.
Kind of cringe, but
So-
also kind of based.
So are you, but I still am friends with you, you know?
It's an infinite universe, though. No Man's Sky, so some of it's going to be cringe.
Someone's
but some
gotta
of it's
be
gonna
cringe. Someone's gotta be cringe.
Why would you play No Man's Sky when you could simply play, what the fuck is it called? Star Citizen.
Never heard of that.
Pierre knows what Star
I know what
Citizen
Star
is.
Citizen is. It's technically not out yet. I'm pretty sure it's still in beta.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure
Early
Fortnite's
access.
still in early access, so
Yeah, it's
it
the
doesn't
same
mean
boat.
anything. That doesn't mean anything anymore.
They just keep adding things to Star Citizen that blow up the game. Just destroy every part of it.
Pretty based.
People are spending $10,000 on ships or something in it.
Yeah.
But I'm
Why don't you simply play EVE Online?
at least that game is out. It's no longer in early access.
Star Trek: The 25th Anniversary
Or-
Edition.
Alright.
Why don't you be based like me and play ESO?
That's the most cringe thing you've ever said.
And then Joe watched some movies this week that weren't The Invisible Man.
That is true. I did.
Joe watched.
What did we watch?
Let's see.
We watched
Sonic. We watched Sonic.
I forgot about it.
What did you think of Sonic, Thomas?
Because this was your first time watching it, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It was much better than I was anticipating.
Wrong.
Well, I thought that it had some genuinely decent jokes in there, not groundbreaking
like the Olive Garden ones.
There's only 2.
I don't even remember the Olive Garden ones, so probably not. But some of the Jim Carrey stuff was genuinely pretty funny for his type of banter. I found that after the first third though, that that somewhat quality type of comedy tended to disappear, and the movie just kind of became boring for the last 2/3. So I was really rolling with it at first. It caught me by surprise, and then I kind of just slowly awoke to the reality of it.
The moment they actually start their road trip.
Yeah, more or less around that point in the film.
It should have just been Sonic hanging around town, and then a police officer dealing with their own separate story, and they never collide. It's just 2 separate movies.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. Joe, how was your second watch of Sonic?
Well, I fell asleep during it, as you do.
Well, you only do that during good movies. Usually.
That's true.
So, do you think Sonic's good now?
No, I think
This is yours from last week.
Oh, I'll take it.
I think the beginning was probably better than I initially thought, but also Jim Carrey was the reason to watch it, and I'm I don't care anymore. Besides Jim Carrey, whatever. Let's see. I also watched Daniel Isn't Real, but I was incredibly high for that, so I fell asleep after the first half hour, as I do, because I'm the spirit of an old man in the body of a 23-year-old. And then we went out to the theaters. We watched The Last Duel with
fuck yeah.
Very, very good movie. Oh my god. I keep thinking about that movie. I'm it's really fucking good.
Yeah. New Ridley Scott movie, Last Duel. I
Adam
really
Driver,
liked it.
Fantastic. Adam Driver is hot as always.
Yeah, that's true.
He's hot as always. Not as hot in this movie because he does some bad stuff.
Because he's scary as fuck.
He's a terrible human in this movie, but Adam Driver the person
movie.
He's
wasn't
fine
in the
in
Sonic movie.
Patterson.
He always plays a villain, though.
He's just a bus driver in Patterson.
Yeah, a villain.
Shut the fuck up. Bus drivers are the heroes of society.
Was he the villain in Marriage Story?
I mean, they're both.
Yeah.
You could argue.
I'm just gonna say
in that movie.
it. Someone has to say it. Buses have been holding this country back from the true purity that is trains.
I mean,
I agree, but also,
I think cars do that more than buses.
Buses are also cars.
But buses
are kind of just
it's a zero-sum game. You can't have
trains.
both.
Trains are just cars.
But they're on rails.
What we should
So
do,
if cars were on rails,
what we
it'd be
should
fine.
do instead, right, is get rid of roads and just bring back aqueducts, and everyone gets little paddle boats.
No, you need to re-angle the whole city so that way no one ever needs a paddle. They're always just going downhill.
They're always going down.
You get a paddle. That's part of it.
How do they get
The
back up?
entire
It's
city
a
will
class of
rotate.
society. Only the rich live up top, and they got motorboats.
Oh, fuck.
You can only go down.
Yeah.
You can't go up.
Pierre, you watched Daniel Isn't Real, and you weren't high, as far as I know. What'd you think of that?
It was
I like
pretty
the one
good.
scene where they were
their faces were
that was pretty crazy.
The movie was about a 8-year-old that witnesses the aftermath of a mass shooting, and then creates a imaginary friend to help with that trauma. And then, the imaginary friend starts telling him to do funky things like, maybe you should kill your mom. He's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. So he locks him in a house, in an imaginary house. It's a real house.
It's a doll house.
And then, he comes back when he's 19. And it's oh.
Yeah, he's going to college and having college problems, and then he goes home for a weekend, and then his imaginary friend shows up again, except they're now the same age. And then they start telling him to do some sketchy things again.
And he's like, no. But then he's like, I'm not leaving this time. And then it gets real weird.
And then
That's pretty good.
yeah.
Pretty good.
I'm trying to think of what it is. I'm like digging deep into the bowels of my brain. But there's like a fucking like episode of some kid's show that I watched when I was a kid that's got like
Jimmy
a
Neutron.
similar...
Berenstain Bears.
Jimmy Neutron.
Is it
Hey,
Jimmy
Arnold.
Neutron?
It's Jimmy Neutron.
Okay.
Berenstain
I
Bears.
was gonna say that's a very like one for one concept. Like I've definitely seen that done somewhere before, but I just
Actually,
can't think of
I'm
where.
pretty sure it's also in the Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah, that's
And
what I was
Dexter's
thinking.
Laboratory.
I think those shows just kind of like ripped off each other a
Berenstain
bunch.
Bears.
Yeah,
Arthur. But the fist meme, that's actually their imaginary friend.
That's
I
evil Arthur.
never watched Arthur growing up. It
But
had
I mean,
Steven
like,
Crowder
there
in it.
was an episode
Arthur's
where
probably
Brain talks about Jekyll and Hyde, and he sings a song. It's like, Jekyll, Jekyll, Hyde, Jekyll, Hyde, Hyde, Jekyll, 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 Hyde, Jekyll, Hyde.
I do remember that.
the
I remember
industrial
you
metal
showing-
cover of Jekyll,
classic
Jekyll
song.
Hyde.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't, those were the only things I watched. And then me and Thomas watched Halloween Kills as well.
Mhm.
And then I've been reading a lot. I've been reading my weird sex book.
I've watched
Sunstone.
things.
Did you watch some stuff? You watched some anime?
I watched anime, as I do.
Mhm.
Watched Platinum's End. It's airing this season. 2 episodes are out.
How was it?
It's
Garbage.
surprisingly good. It's based off a manga by the Death Note guys.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
they don't know how to write.
That's on the
So.
phone.
reverse Death Note, but also a battle. It looks like it's setting up like a battle royale, but it's like who am I actually fighting kind of battle royale, almost like a Among Us situation, where it's like you don't know who the
Among
other
Us
people in the
anime
game
dropped.
are.
Among Us anime dropped. Platinum's End.
I also started watching an old anime from 2004 or 2005 called
Kiba?
Trinity Blood. And it's like after World War III, the world was divided by 2 superpowers. The Vatican, which is just Warhammer 40k Imperium of Man, and then the Vampire Empire. And they're just a bunch of vampires. They also might be aliens. They call all the humans Terrans for some reason.
Because they're from Terra.
Yeah. Terra's just another name for the Earth.
There's also a lot of vampire shows airing this season, like new vampire shows. I
Like
watched.
Twilight the anime.
Yeah. It's about a vampire who's in the USSR or something. Is like the world's first cosmonaut, but they're also a vampire. And
Classic.
and there's 2 other vampire shows, but I didn't watch those because they didn't sound as stupid as Cosmonaut Vampire.
Fair.
The opening has them going in like a rocket, and then the rocket goes up and does like the different multi-stage launch system stuff.
Mhm.
And like the final one is like the pod, but then the real final one is a coffin.
Oh wow.
With a vampire. It's really good.
That does sound pretty good.
It's really dumb. The final stage of the rocket's a
Just a
coffin.
coffin. Oh my god.
Also sums up the USSR space program, am I right?
Well, yeah, it's
They
because
sent
all
a dog
Russians.
up there and had no plan to bring it back.
Yeah, but they got somebody up there before the dog.
You're right.
They won the space race.
I don't think they did.
They did. We just kept moving the pole. We're just
yeah.
like, nah,
Yeah,
we
but we got the furthest, though.
Uh-huh.
That's what counts. They could move the pole, too. It's just they didn't, like... The pole's now moved to Mars.
They probably did.
I mean-
Like, if you look at Russian, they're probably, yeah, we won the space race. We were the first into space.
Plus, like,
Yeah, but the
How-
race didn't end.
I don't know how active they've been in space since, but like, pretty much like we fizzled out after the moon landing. We were just like, hey.
we're maintaining the International
Yeah.
Space Station for...
Barely. What is
Yeah.
it? Doesn't it get...
It did decommission like 2024 or
Yeah,
something
that's
like
soon.
that.
And China's sending up their space station soon.
Yeah, but
Well,
we
plus
have
there's like...
the Gateway Station that's going to orbit the moon or something.
Yeah.
I mean, is space even real? I'm pretty sure we're just like
The end goal of this conversation.
It's like talking about how you one-up people who talk about weird conspiracy theories, like the moon landing was fake, and you're like,
You
the
believe in
moon's
the
not
moon?
real.
No, I mean, like, there are plans to, like, do more, like, visits, I think, to the moon in, like, the next couple of years.
Mm.
I know NASA was talking about stuff like that a while ago, but I
I've
haven't
been
heard
talking about
anything.
that a lot, just they never get the funding.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I guess
That's
CGI
why.
has gotten a lot better since the 60s.
That's true. I imagine...
too well.
And we've had better directors since Kubrick, so...
That's true.
I also like the idea of moving the goalpost, though, because I'm just picturing, like, an Olympic runner. It's like, you didn't win. Okay, race me to the McDonald's down the street. Let's go.
They beat
And then they
you. Oh, you have to
continue
beat
running
me to eat these McChickens first.
It's
They're like, no, I'm allergic to chicken. They're like,
that just happened
Then
at
you've
the
lost
Tokyo
the race, bro.
Olympics.
The Olympics still go... No, the Olympics are over by now, right?
Yeah, they're way over.
they're way like months
They
ago.
ended like 2.5 months ago.
The Olympics happened this year, and I don't pay attention to the...
Yeah, because we got COVID.
Yeah,
That's
there
true.
was skateboarding.
I knew about that.
There was
Rock climbing.
the one
We
woman
saw the
who got
swim.
banned for weed, and everyone was on her side. And then she said some like homophobic shit about Lil Nas X, and then everyone was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
Oh.
because that's what weed does to you.
Oh yeah, and then there were like the anti-sex beds at the Olympics as well.
Oh, I didn't see
You
that.
see beds?
Yeah, they were like made out of cardboard, and they're like, "It's to be sustainable,
No,
realistic."
that's where the mess happens.
Yeah, no, exactly.
On the cardboard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's better that
I don't know
way.
how that's an anti-sex bet.
Well, like the thing was like
Easy
it
to
would
clean up.
collapse. If that was like the idea behind it.
I
I
mean,
don't think that's true.
honestly,
I'm fairly sure
every
that's what
bed
they
collapses.
said.
No.
Like it wasn't like explicitly like anti-sex, but it was very like we're not saying don't have sex on it, but we're just saying probably be difficult. And everyone's like, "What the fuck are you talking
Just have
about?"
sex on the ground.
And also, like that was the conversation. It's like these are athletes. You think they can't hold up a person? Like
I don't.
Also, what?
I don't remember
What
this
if they got-
conversation at all.
don't
I
think
just
they can
remember
build
the
a
cardboard
bed?
boxes because
No.
they're like these are easy to make
Oh.
for use for people. Like I don't remember anything
Joe
about
there
the
is this
anti-sex.
round of the conspiracy theory.
I've never
there was
heard this.
actual conversation about this.
Well, there's actual conversation about COVID being like made from horse urine. Doesn't mean
It's
it's
happening
real.
right now. That's what this podcast is about. You were all tricked into watching.
115 episodes later, we're here to talk about the COVID vaccine that we started with horse urine.
Ironically, the Invisible Man is not present.
I would love it if this podcast just turned into just random garbage like that, and then like you still have like pictures of the movie like posters just show up at the timestamps when they were planned to show up.
Fair. It'd be a real
This
shit
podcast would be
poster.
better that way.
That's what the 300s will be like. We're not there yet.
I won't be here.
London
Give
just
it
has
like
a
2
walker.
more episodes and it'll get there.
Oh, are we going to be doing this 4 years from now in 2025?
I'm gonna say 40 years from now.
We'll see. We'll see how many subscribers we get.
Oh, we'll have like billions by now. Billions! Half the world will be
Also,
subscribed.
in the comment section, real quick, please write a comment if you would like this to be streamed and possibly called Stream Weens. It's a really
I'm
good
not going to
name.
change the name if we
I-
stream
I
it.
still-
No, it'll still be
I have a
Stream
Twitch
Weens.
that's called Stream Weens. I just haven't done anything with it yet.
Squatting it.
Yeah, I was just like, this is coming.
Yeah.
Tom is going to start streaming
We just need to
Minecraft
stream the
starting tomorrow at
podcast.
8 p.m.
People love streams.
You should
Next
start
level
streaming your
now.
job. Wear a GoPro.
No, that wouldn't be good. For
Whose
anybody.
was it?
Well, it was Thomas, because I don't keep... My phone has been on silent and or vibrate for several
I might
years.
switch my phone to vibrate.
I
Can't-
want to eat spaghetti. Anyway,
Are we talking about the movies at the point? Is that why we're here?
yeah, but first we have questions from Pierre that we did not
Oh,
get to
I
last
hope-
week.
I hope I feel comfortable answering the questions. I never think about me answering them.
Question 1. A lot of Ruby fans have come up with better stories than the actual series writers. Can you think of any other media IP that has spawned a lot of fan content and alternate universe better than the original? Yeah.
The Harry Potter musicals are the best way to experience Harry Potter these days.
That's not true.
I
Harry Potter musicals suck dick.
disagree
They're fine.
wholeheartedly.
I mean, I think there's pretty strong fan content in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Shrek.
There's a lot of, like, cringe fan content, but, like...
Sonic.
You know, I can't think of any good Sonic fan projects.
Wasn't Sonic Mania? That was made by fans.
What?
Have you guys
effectively.
not heard of the Sonic Dream Collection?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I've heard of it. That's pretty good. That's pretty
It's
good.
not.
It's great.
It's not.
Yeah, no, Sonic Mania, I think, was either I know it was done by people from, like, that are just fans of it that were working on, like, maybe separate fan projects, but they got recruited to build the game. I don't know how much of, like, their previous work they put into it, but that's close enough.
Yeah. There are plenty of things like that, though, where fans are just big and then they get hired by the company. So, and you know, maybe you're a fan if you work for something. Yeah.
Shrek.
Shrek Retold is really good.
It is.
See, the part that stumps me about this question is the part where it says it surpasses the original. Because if I didn't like the original, I probably wasn't very likely to dive into any fan content.
What about Star Trek The Next Generation?
I mean, that's...
What?
That's
Are you saying
an
that's
official-
fan content?
That, like,
It's also made by fucking...
J. Roddenberry.
Yeah, he's...
Can you not be a fan of your own work?
I mean,
I think it's very
You're
narcissistic,
right.
back the
but
first few seasons until he finally kicked the bucket and they were like, oh, we can actually do some new shit with this series.
One Piece.
One Piece.
He's a
That's
fan
a-
of
that's a
himself.
I
Dragon
mean,
Ball
One
spin-off.
Piece. That's official.
That's just a pirate spinoff.
That's written by Oda
Based on
and
history.
Toriyama.
I'd sort of consider
count.
One Piece to be a JoJo's ripoff before a Dragon Ball ripoff, I think.
Does
No.
Pirates of the Caribbean count?
Not at all. Fucking One
JoJo's
Piece.
didn't exist until 2004.
One Piece is very like early Dragon Ball inspired. A lot of like comedy, action, adventure, that kind of stuff. But One Piece doesn't have a whole. I'd probably say like some of the Dragon Ball stuff, but I haven't read a lot of like the fan content, like AF, or there's a new one that people are saying is better than Super, which I'm sure is probably true because Super's not.
Have you guys heard the one where it's like a dude gets reincarnated as Krillin or...
There's
My life is
there's
not-
a
that's-
one shot that's
That's
about-
real. We
Yeah.
sell it.
Oh, I didn't know that was official. I
yeah,
thought it
no,
was
we
like-
sell it.
Mhm.
Dumb.
Here,
Well, Yamcha's the most powerful.
Oh,
so.
I got a good one here. The Sword Art Online Abridged series. That is miles better than the original.
Doesn't have Death Gun yet.
I mean, yeah, but imagine it.
Cube Arts is better than Minecraft.
You're right.
That's like official fan work spin. I don't know, like I guess you could say like
That's just
literally
a
any
parody.
Minecraft parody clone ripoff.
Castle Miner Z.
Oh, Castle Miner Z was great.
No,
oh my
it
god.
wasn't.
That was the pinnacle. of
I
Xbox
have
Live
fond
Arcade.
memories.
I mean, I do
of
too,
it.
but it was garbage.
Yeah.
You had the handgun from the get-go.
You do get a handgun from the get-go.
No, Minecraft still doesn't have a handgun.
That's true. But Minecraft
Our
does
game
have.
of Marvel Legendary, where J. Jonah Jameson was stealing all the oxygen.
That's better than any of the MCU.
Yeah.
You're right. Anyway, yeah, question 2. Who is the fastest horror movie villain / monster to go from scary to a joke of a threat? Does this mean, like, from reveal, or just, like, instant, like, do you mean, like, from reveal to, like, a joke?
See,
or
in my head, that question means like they're either scary for one movie and then the next movie they're kind of like just like instantly flanderized,
Like
and kind
that,
of a joke.
or like even sometimes in the same movie.
Well,
they'll
see,
start off like menacing.
I think that if you're gonna like have, you know, because you got to have a height. Like no one's gonna be like Leprechaun, because Leprechaun 2 when he's just as like comedic in the first one, you know.
yeah, he rides his tricycle.
I don't know. Probably.
Can't think of any that go from like somewhat just because like to me is like somewhat serious and then something happens and like they like get kneecapped but not literally, you know.
I mean, like, you could say, like, Pennywise because like he becomes a joke of a threat. But that's the entire point of like the ending.
Yeah.
I think the way I was thinking up was simply, so when I was probably like really young, like things like The Grudge, for example, is really spooky and scary. But like honestly, I feel like after you see The Grudge for the first time, like moving about, doing its thing, crawling around down the stairs, you realize that you could probably take it.
What do you mean it like rips off people's jaws and stuff?
They're not fighting back though. I mean, like, I would just start swinging.
Remember that thing that was like, yeah, these men in America answered that they could like take a bear. It's Pierre.
But no, the thing is, like, me against a bear, that's more, like, I don't know. But, like...
But a ghost!
A
ghost demon.
See, Pierre would take a bear because he would just pull a gun out of nowhere.
The Grudge is only, like...
The Grudge is literally the spirit of vengeance.
5'5", though. They're like 5'5", they probably weigh, like, 100 pounds. I could probably take them.
Pierre, what happens when your fist goes right through them?
If my fist goes through them, then they can't touch me.
I don't think that's how most things work.
See, to be fair, I feel like the Grudge would be the kind of like
entity.
ghost that you could like physically touch and like basically like murder for a second, and then you'd like walk away, and then they basically just like respawn.
Oh,
and then do it again.
Actually, I have a decent answer to this question. Most slasher villains, I kind of from the get-go, I'm always like, this is just a dude.
I mean, yeah, but that's why, like, I find slasher villains to be, like, a scarier idea. Because it is just a guy.
Like, I get the whole point of it, of, like, oh, anyone can do this because it's human, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, it's just a dude. Like, I don't...
And I feel like most of the time slasher villains do the opposite, and they just get overpowered as series go on. Like, oh...
Jason X.
Like, he's Uber Jason. Or, yeah, stuff like that.
That's how I felt when watching the Halloween movies, was simply, why don't they just shoot them more?
Yeah.
Because he's the guy from Fortnite.
Yeah, and there's usually, like, some, like, human components, like, stop it, or, like, in Halloween, the sequel, she was like, oh, I kept taking a shot with Jason when he was leaving the prison, but I just didn't. There's usually some human element, and I'm like, if you want to, like, I just don't like slasher films. I can't get behind them. I'm just like...
I don't either.
I just don't support them. They're just not nice.
They're not good people. I don't understand how people can be fans of these guys who are just serial killers going around stabbing people. Like, I can't support... I just can't support
Like, if there's
that.
anyone worse than a bus driver, it's a slasher villain.
But, like, a slasher that is also a bus driver?
That's a good movie.
Is that a movie?
That's probably...
No, we have, like, there's, like, the Ice Cream Man.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that. But is there one... I don't know.
Dibs. No one take that.
Pierre will be the bus driver. Pierre, you need to get your license.
Joe will be the final girl.
All right. And
I always feel like, you weren't even that scary, and then I get stabbed in the face.
what is your favorite League of Legends character, and would they enjoy hanging out with David Lynch at Six Flags theme park?
I forgot about all these.
I haven't played League in a while. I guess my favorites are like Olaf.
Dr. Mundo.
I do like Dr. Mundo would love David Lynch. He'd be like, you get me, man. And
But would they enjoy hanging out with him at Six Flags?
yeah, Dr. Mundo loves fun. And Olaf probably does too. So
See,
sure.
My favorites were Jax and Jace, because J name, haha. Jax is kind of like a hermit.
What about Joloff? Or Dr. Jundo? Or Janny?
Jax is kind of like a hermit dude. He just, like, wants to be alone with his lamppost.
So he'd like to hang out with David Lynch, like, in his house.
That sounds like David Lynch.
Jace, I think, would be able to, like, feign, like, caring.
Jace the Mind Sculptor?
Yeah.
I like Cho'Gath. I think that you would have an extremely fun time with David Lynch at Six Flags, probably eating random
Both of them are. David Lynch just starts eating people.
No, David Lynch sees Cho'Gath, he's like, that's what the baby in Eraserhead is.
And he just starts talking to him about spiritualism.
And how he hates watching movies on phones.
He's fine now. He gets it.
He probably will. He used to be.
It's so
he used to be
funny.
really like anti.
Oh yeah.
Anti-phone.
Not
Anti-new tech.
Like that, and like I think there's like a video interview where someone asks him about like using brands in his film, and he's like, "Oh, never." And then in like Twin Peaks: The Return, he uses some.
He uses like the Starbucks.
Like,
It's like
drinking
some cars and
Colgate
stuff.
toothpaste. But
Yeah, everyone's driving a Mercedes. And Pierre?
my favorite lead character is Giran. And I feel like Giran would hate Lynch because Giran likes things nice and simple. Giran's the kind of guy who like sits down and watches like the newest Mission Impossible movie and is like, alright.
Yeah, no. I also thought about
Not enough
picking-
spinning.
I also thought about picking Garin, but I just knew that he.
Who?
Garin.
We only know Giran.
Kieran got both of you saying it wrong.
Giran? Giran's their name. They're like from
Here,
the
how is-
Mafia.
how
Their
is-
sister's name is
how is-
Lux. Their dog is named Timo.
How is Garen spelled?
Their neighbor is like
Their neighbor.
Darius or Darius or Daria.
their
No, that is not their. That's
They
like-
have an axe, I know that, and they're from Nox. Giran.
But yeah, no. I thought about also picking Garin, but I knew he would just hate David Lynch, so I couldn't pick.
Do y'all just not listen to how the characters pronounce their names in the game?
It's
Like
Garin.
I think Thomas is just doing the opposite of what Pierre's doing.
The other lead character I liked was the one cat with the magic book that they added around the time I started playing for people who aren't good at League, where you just attach yourself to a person
Oh,
and you
yeah.
heal them and you act kind of like a turret on their
I don't
shoulder.
remember who that
Oh,
fucking
okay.
character
I-
is. Cho'Gath 2.
I don't remember his name, but they're voiced by Morgana's voice actress from Persona, and they say zoomies a lot. And I'm like, zoomies!
I don't know. I
They're
haven't, I haven't
magic
played
cat.
League in several years. I will continue to not play
Is
League.
there a bug?
There's a moth. Pierre, you just committed murder on camera!
Still alive.
When the slasher villains start patching you up.
Okay,
It's dead now.
let's talk.
You murderer!
You're supposed to say, that was my boy!
Let's talk about The Invisible Man by James Whale,
So that's black and white
1933. Yeah,
Okay.
it's directed by the same director as.
What a
Frankenstein.
classic.
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I feel like I will start with a little terror.
Oh man, this movie was like great. I loved it.
Yeah.
I think this movie's delightful.
Oh,
I
it
was talk-
is wonderful.
I was
Only
talking to
black
him.
and white movie I liked.
I was talking to him today about this, and she was like, "Do you think when this movie like came out, people thought it was funny?" And I'm like, "I mean, maybe, but like people
No.
honestly probably thought it was kind of scary because like
Yeah.
the like effects in it are pretty impressive. Like they could have been like, what the fuck is going on? How the fuck are those pants moving?"
Yeah.
Also, no one's ever seen like a malicious person like that before, because everyone was really nice back then. So seeing someone so unhinged must have been like radically different.
Yes, 1933 off the heels of, or decade past World War One, right?
Yeah, in the middle of the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Everyone was just having a grand old
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that's the Roaring 20s. Everyone was like, roar!
It's 1933, right in the middle of the Roaring 20.
Yeah.
But
roar!
I mean, basic outline of the movie is I forget the guy's name, but the titular Invisible Man is wrapped up in his bandages after an experiment gone wrong.
You don't get to talk. You don't get to talk.
I
You
don't
know what, Thomas?
I don't
This
know.
is my
I
show.
don't know how I
No,
don't
you
know.
can go. You can go. I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No, I just don't remember the guy's name.
I don't. Yeah.
It's not like there's any
I
sort of
remember
famous
his
Family
name.
Guy character that he's named after or anything.
Brian Griffin.
You're half right.
Jack Griffin.
His name's Griffin.
Brian Griffin, the dog who died in Family Guy.
Yeah, he just turned invisible. It was all a ploy.
Oh,
So sad about that.
Pierre, you never.
He never
recovered.
came back. But anyway, Yeah, this guy's invisible. You can continue with your...
Oh, you can go ahead. Didn't mean to steal your thunder from you.
I was
this
just...
movie. It's fun.
Okay. Yeah. This movie's about a guy who turns invisible, and it turns out that he uses a type of, like, ink that also, like, drives people mad, but he didn't know that because he read it from an English book that wasn't up to date and had, like, the proper sources. So he's just like, yeah, I'm going to try to become invisible, and he goes mad, and he's like, I'm going to just start a reign of terror. He goes up to one of his buddies, and he's like,
that detail.
Hey, you're my assistant, and you're going to help me murder people. And if you tell anyone, I'm going to strangle you. And he's just like, okay. And then he instantly tells some of his friends, including, basically it gets back to Griffin's fiance, and she's like, I want to see him. And he's like, you can't. And then, then I guess...
Shenanigans unfold.
He tells the cops, and then Claude Rains gets really mad, and he's just like, I'm going to fucking kill you now. And he does. He, like, sends him off, ties him up, and, like, just pulls the e-brake off in his car and sends him down a hill. And then,
That was such a good scene.
Then he hides out in a barn where he gets found, and they light it on fire, and as he's walking out into the snow, he gets shot, and then he dies next to his girlfriend in bed and slowly turns back to you.
That's a good answer for my second podcast question, because he goes from like an absolute terror to that country to a joke when one man with a gun happens to be there.
Yeah, well, most of the time they can't see him, but because it was winter, I guess they could see his footprints.
They could see his footprints, but if they had enough guns, just keep on firing all the time in every direction. You're bound to hit them.
If you just spin around with a big enough gun, with a large enough magazine, you will kill everything. Invisible or otherwise.
It just made me think of killing him. It's so good, dear. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, yep.
But yeah, this movie's a classic. Great effects, great acting. It's got a dark, twisted sense of humor for the time period.
It's so charming.
Yeah. There's so many funny moments in this. Like the lines when he's like, time for my reign of terror.
There's time for a little bit of terror.
The idea that most of the time he's naked.
Yeah. And he's like taking off his clothes, and he's just a shirt. He's like... and then he's just dancing around. And then he steals the policeman's pants and just skipping down that.
He steals a bike for 2 minutes and throws it back at the guy, then goes to a bridge, takes off an old man's hat and just tosses it in a river.
He pushes over the baby carriage with the baby.
Yeah. There's so many just stupid moments about it that are great.
Like the old proverb that if you punch someone in a dark room, is it really a crime?
What?
It's like that kind of mentality.
Yeah, because it's like, if you obviously he's leaving enough evidence that there's an invisible man terrorizing, so it's like, but people know, people can devise strategies, but if he played it stealthily, he probably could have gotten away with it.
Oh yeah. But he was just I'm invisible.
And for whatever reason, he decided he needed a human assistant.
Yeah. It's how his day-to-day things.
Yeah.
Perhaps if you wanted to buy a Tamagotchi. Or some can openers.
There were things he can't do, like walk downstairs easily.
Or go outside for long, because it was winter during the movie.
Yeah.
Because if he were invisible, he would need to be naked.
He probably should just move to a warmer climate.
Yeah, he can no longer partake in his favorite pastime activity of measuring his penis.
Well, no, you can just say, yep, it's out this long. You can't...
Huh?
Did he cast a shadow?
No, he's invisible. He doesn't block any light.
Well, the thing about invisibility is, you can either be transparent like glass, or it could be the kind of invisibility where you're bending the light around your form. Yeah. In that case, you would cast a shadow.
What? It's the first thing.
So he's just transparent like glass.
Yeah. He said, if he eats food, it'll be, visible for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, in the beginning, he was like, I'll eat my food and then I'll come down an hour later because then he was just like, you'll just see it in my body.
And he comes down, there's just a dog in his body.
Well, by that logic, though, wouldn't you see, like, his waist, like, in his colon?
No, because that's part of him now.
Who has become part.
Yeah.
They are one.
Yeah.
Oh my god, if I was the Invisible Man, I'd just be leaving my invisible shits everywhere. And then just sit down and be like, oh, what the fuck?
What did I just say?
Why does it smell so
I feel
bad?
like it just smelled like before they sat in it.
Oh, man, I wish I don't even want to be invisible. I just want to have invisible shit.
It's not that it doesn't stink. It's that you can't see.
You don't know where it is.
Have you seen that Jack Black movie where he invents a spray that, like, makes shit disappear, and then everyone's like, where did the shit go? And it turns out he's just turning it invisible.
What the fuck
It's
is this
a real movie that exists. I
You're
watched it when I was
lying.
a kid. It's called, like, poop away spray or something. Like,
School of Rock 2.
It's a real movie.
I don't
It's a real
I don't
movie.
believe you.
You just made up a movie.
I don't
I
want
think
to.
it might also have John Cusack in it, who's actually the main character. Who's
You
like,
were
got,
in
like,
third grade and
who's
you
having
made up
issues
a
with his
movie.
girlfriend or something.
You were doodling in your notebook and you're like, hey, wouldn't it be
Jack
funny if Jack
Black.
Black could, like, spray away poop?
Poop spray movie. It's called Envy. And it's got Ben Stiller.
Yeah, I've seen the poster for this all the time. Like, this looks bad. Well, I know what I'm watching tonight. The
If
poop
this was
spray.
a better podcast, you would see the poster for the movie edited in on the side somewhere.
See, that
maybe
should've-
over here,
No.
maybe over
No,
there,
Not what?
Instead of Hollow
maybe
Man,
on top of
that
Joe's
should have been
face
the middle of the
spinning.
Spider-Man remake that we picked.
Oh my god, yep.
Yeah. But Invisible Man 1933 is just like one of my favorite like monster movies.
Yeah, no, it's super good.
So funny. And it's just fun. Like it's just a good movie too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've watched this. This is my second time watching it. And I enjoyed it just as much.
We also didn't mention, but all of the like actors' accents are amazing.
Yeah. When the policeman
The police
showed up,
officer's
Pierre
line
literally was just like,
He's my favorite character.
he's like, what's all this then?
They called he was the constable.
All the constables here. An invisible man.
Oh, rubbish.
He's like, oh, rubbish am I? And he's like, ah! And he kills the guy. Yeah. Yeah, I really like the main guy. What was his name? Was it like
Claude Rains?
Claude Rains?
John
Yeah,
Q.
Claude Rains is fantastic as the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the supporting characters are very fun as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. And in general, I just like the movie's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely top tier amongst the old Universal classics.
James Wales was just putting out fucking bangers.
Yeah, no, he literally owns like the top block of those movies. He's great.
Best black and white movie ever made. Aside from Justice League.
We should rewatch that.
No.
4 hour one.
Instead
black
of
and white
picking
version.
the pick that we talked about for next week, maybe I'll just pick the fucking Twilight series.
That'd be great. I don't remember what you said for next week, so we'll
Maybe
talk
I'll
about
just
it
pick
later.
something else then.
Cool.
Like the Twilight series.
Yeah, no, I'd never watched any of the old Universal movies, but or the Universal monster movies, and this one, fantastic. Absolutely recommend.
All
Watch a few more.
right. Yeah. Like Frankenstein.
Yeah, if you liked this, you would like the first two Frankensteins at the very least.
Was that not one of the ones we watched?
Did you watch the 19? I don't think you watched the old Frankenstein. You watched the one in color, didn't you?
No, I think we watched one that was in black and white.
Maybe you did. I don't remember which ones you watched with me.
I don't remember either.
Woo!
Was Peter Cushing in it?
Don't know who it
'Cause
is.
Was
that's
Count
the guy who
Dooku
plays.
in it?
Yeah, was Count Dooku in it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one in color. That's
Yeah.
the hammer one from
Got
the
him.
50s. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I watched Frankenstein on my lunch break.
Ah, yeah, I remember you watching.
choice.
No, that was Creature from the Black Lagoon you watched.
I also did that. I think I did it. Oh, yeah, no. A lot of those movies, because they were so short. I'm like, I'm just going to watch them on my lunch break.
That's fair.
Yeah. Thomas, you give this a 8. 7.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Joe would give this an 8.
9.
No? Okay.
Pierre? 10. Oh, 9.
6.
A 2.
A 7.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a 7.
Okay.
If it wasn't
If it wasn't black and white,
I would give it like an 8. Honestly, I might give it a 6 because it's black and white. I feel like I need to. You know what? 6.
Okay.
8.
9.
I was gonna say 9, but I assume you were also talking because the whole black and white situation.
Yeah, I fucking hate them.
It should be red and blue.
Anyway, let's talk about Hollow Man from 2000.
Boy.
I did not remember this movie being... Like, I knew that there was a little bit of sexual assault in the movie, but I didn't remember...
That's just the whole movie.
See, the stuff I remembered was, like, the glasses and the guns and stuff like that.
The villain's whole stick is sticking people.
But, Hollow Man.
Yeah, so Hollow Man, same kind of deal, but there's a group of scientists working on a formula to turn
Quantum
people
shift,
invisible. Phase shift.
It's literally the same movie as Invisible Man, 1933 or
I mean, kind of, but there's a whole group, and it's not that they know how to make people invisible. It's the turning people back they're having trouble with. Mm-hmm. But they do get the gorilla to turn back. So then Kevin Bacon's like, let's fucking do it to me. And then he turns invisible, they can't turn him back, and then he starts being a fucking weirdo. Well, he was always a fucking weirdo, but he starts sexually assaulting people.
Like, all
the
over,
time.
Yeah, constantly.
And then,
every female
like, the second he turns
at that
invisible.
lab.
And then when they say, like, we're going to turn you in, he's like, okay, time for some Katara! And he just starts murdering people. And then they kill him, and Thanos and Elizabeth Shue escape.
You keep saying Thanos, but that guy was not purple.
He was.
Yeah, I think he must have.
What was I watching?
Yeah, like, Hollow Man's annoying because, like, I get what Verhoeven, is that how you pronounce his name?
Oh, I have no idea.
It's the guy who did RoboCop.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I understand what he was going with, and, like, you can, if the 33 one wasn't so, like, comedic, it has, like, some of the same elements to it, but Hollow Man is just, like, it's very uncreative with, like, its execution of these things, and it's, I feel like its sexual assault themes and, like, scenes are too, like, voyeuristic to be, anything of value to the film. So it's just kind of like...
Yeah, they're really there just to kind of make you despise the main, or Kevin Bacon's character in the movie.
It's just shock value. Like, oh, wow, I can't believe he did that. And then no one... I guess he dies in the end, but, like, that's not really retribution or, like, commentary on anything. It's just, like, bad person do bad thing, now bad person dead.
The villain must suffer more than just a mere death.
An infinite death, perhaps.
Some kind of goal experience requiem, if you will.
Careful. You're treading spoiler territory there.
One doesn't know
Only
what we're
if you
talking
say
about.
that.
But anyway.
I will say that it made me think he was more of a villain. This is actually,
I don't know,
which is weird because in the 33 one, he was like,
He was a big villain.
Wrecking shop all over this country, caused a big train
Yeah, he
crash.
killed hundreds of people.
I forgot
It's
about
yeah,
that.
he's on a crime spree across the countryside.
And Pierre was
He's
just like,
killed
"Good for
already
him."
100 people. And it's like, Kevin Bacon killed, like, by the end, maybe like 4 people?
I think it was like 7.
Six, 7.
Six.
Something like that.
He did like 3 cases of sexual assault.
You fucking killed that
That dog with his bare
God.
hands.
Yeah.
But by the end, I was like, yeah, this guy's a horrible villain. I don't like this guy.
I guess the question becomes, like, at what point does it become gratuitous, and then you start actually having to, like, deal with, like, okay, if you're gonna bring this in, like, that element, you have to start, like, addressing it.
I'm fine if you just keep on making the villain as horrible as possible. That's why I kind of like it when they double down and just make the villains the absolute worst. Like, for example, that's why I'm always saying Kylo Ren in Star Wars should have been a crazy psychopath the whole way through, with no redeeming qualities. Think about it.
I don't want to.
Yeah, no.
And it's just like, but I also don't think it was needed in the sense that Kevin Bacon from the very beginning is the absolute worst.
Yeah.
He's like just a fucking scumbag. And it's just like, to the point that it makes the movie just like, why are you letting him do this? Why are you letting him go invisible?
There was a point where, like, partway through the movie, I was like, all right, there's clearly, like, I get, like, it's not necessarily, like, a thing that people will report, but, like, there's definitely, like, multiple people who have, like, experienced sexual assault by the invisible, fucking, I'm blanking on his name right now.
Kevin Bacon?
I was going Kevin Spacey, but I knew that wasn't.
Yeah. He's a real life.
You would do the same thing with said powers of being hollow.
Absolutely. But, yeah, so, like, there's a couple points, because it's, like, the first thing he does when he's invisible and wakes up is he sexually assaults the, like, animal representative that they've got.
Yep, the vet.
And then he
like
goes on and, like, is literally, like, just sticking his hands wherever on his one, friend who he has a past
His
relationship.
ex. Yeah.
And, like, yeah, like, I get it. I get why maybe they were just like, I'm not going to do anything about this right at this moment, but I don't know. I feel like...
Yeah, but it's like, but also, he was doing stuff like that and doing before he turned invisible, so it goes back to the question, like, why let him go invisible?
I don't know if I missed it, but so after, like, that lady thinks that he was in the bathroom when she was going, I really feel like when they're later at the table talking, she brought that up, and they're all just kind of like, whatever, we don't know if it was him, we're just being paranoid, but maybe we should watch out. But I feel like she was the only one to report anything, but they never explicitly say anything, so I think it's just, I'm assuming that's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Because that's where it seemed like the conversation had originally started.
And also, like, the lab was apparently very capable of, like, locking down certain sections. So, like,
more people should have been watching him, honestly.
Or, like...
Also, they kept taking off their glasses.
Yeah.
There's, like, no security personnel, which is also weird for,
you know what?
government.
They deserve to die. They're a bunch of fucking idiots.
The only security guards on the outside of the compound?
Yeah.
I'm like...
I guess there was, like, only, like, one way in, one way out, basically.
But you would still probably have people inside running a security detail.
Probably.
Especially on such a sensitive project.
No, like,
for the US
I
military.
agree.
I mean, they did, like, you saw, like, they had, like, people watching the cameras and stuff, but, like...
I feel like the U.S. Army was in charge of
part of the
project
team. I think
like
Pierre's
this.
talking about, like, an external security detail person, like, on the
There
inside
should
of the
be
compound.
Secret Service members
But then they would have just reported to the higher-ups that he was planning on going against them.
Yeah.
There would have been no
And then the
movie.
movie would have happened.
Yeah, it's lazy writing.
Also...
I'd argue what's here is lazy
No,
writing.
that's what Thomas is
Yeah.
saying.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Thomas is defending the movie Hollow Man. It's amazing writing.
Yeah, no, like, the characters, like, even before, like, any of the Invisible Man stuff happens, like, I don't like
Hello,
the
man.
love triangle. I feel like it's a very lazy, generic, just, like...
I feel like it's a straight line, and he wants to be another vertex on that triangle, but he's already no longer connected. It's a straight line and a dot.
Well, I mean, obviously,
Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth Shue's still got some sort of, like, Kevin Bacon's character still has, like, a hold on her in some form. Although she, like, clearly she didn't get what she wanted out of him romantically.
He's her boss, so...
Well, yeah.
He's, like, in charge of the project. He's the lead scientist.
But she spends, like, the first, like, third of the movie talking him up, giving him a lot of leeway. Like, I guarantee Josh Brolin would not have gone with this plan had she not kind of And like, you know, he's,
like,
he's
you know,
like a genius. Forget the fact that he's an egomaniac and kind of a, you know,
scumbag in most
scumbag,
senses.
yeah, womanizer. Like, those are just the things we see kind of elements. Let's just, you know, because he's a genius and he wants to be the first one. And they even acknowledge, like,
The first
The
time
guy
you
who, like,
see him, he's like looking at his neighbor across the way.
Yeah.
That's like the introduction to his characters. Him just like perving on some lady
yeah.
across the street or something.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then she shuts the blinds and then he calls up Elizabeth Shue. He's like, hey, I cracked the code. So it's like, I bet he wouldn't have even told her had he gotten more out of his across the street like viewing experience. But yeah.
Ironically, that's the first introduction we get to Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
In the Sam Raimi one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like
I
the
mean, he
first
just
scene?
looks over and he sees Mary Jane.
Yes.
They're like the same person.
Kevin Bacon should have been Peter Parker, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Megan should have been Green Goblin.
Goblin.
It's got some Norman Osborn energy in this one. But, like, there are sequences in this movie I do think are cool. I do think, like, while the effects have definitely aged, there's some, like, interesting...
stuff.
Yeah, there's some interesting visual
Visuals.
presentations. Like, I like the slow descent in invisibility and how, like, the muscle disappears first.
Each layer.
Yeah,
is,
like, that's
body
pretty
goes
cool.
away.
I like, then they inject it, and then they slowly reappear. Like, that's cool. And I like the Hollow Man look, I guess, when you, like, see inside. Like, there's some cool stuff.
It's fun, yeah.
And I think it looks really cool when he's on fire, and, like, it's all, like, fleshy and weird. It's, like, really weird looking and fun.
Definitely like the, like, end of the fire sequence where, like, just the ashes, like, fall off of him completely. Which also, like... Okay, I said this when we watched it, but he took a full flamethrower to the body.
He's just
and
fine.
He's just like,
I'm going still.
He's just going completely fine. Like, whatever flesh was on him, like, the top few layers of skin, they're charred and gone.
I'm assuming that the serum made him crazy or made him more crazy. I'm assuming it also gave him superpowers.
I mean, maybe, but also, like, I guess, like, adrenaline is probably pumping at that point. But
But
also,
like,
like,
lifting people up and tossing them across rooms and stuff like that. Like, he lifts a dude up and tosses him across the hallway.
Yeah,
Or
it
maybe
at
he was
least is,
just
like
getting jacked.
it's at least triggered like that, like adrenaline, like thing.
Definitely, like,
perform
absolute-
above average human feats.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's, like, the only thing that, like, makes sense, but I'm just, like, he straight up tackles someone after getting engulfed in fire and his body burning. And I'm just like, you would be down for the count.
Not me.
Yeah, so like those sequences
Shut
are cool.
the fuck-
I like in general. I like most of the ending fine, and there are some cool bits of dialogue. Like I really, really like the line. Like you can't imagine what a human can do when you don't have to look yourself in the mirror. Like I like that line. That's a good line for an Invisible Man movie. Just not a Hollow Man movie, I guess.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, this one didn't age that great for me.
Yeah.
I also really just want to mention that the moment I absolutely hated his character was when he was like, you guys don't understand the pain I'm going through, what it's like to be like this. You have no idea. And it's
You
like, it was
volunteered,
your
asshole.
plan. You volunteered for this. We could have just gave them our results, taken our paycheck, and left.
Also, they, like, constantly were, like, trying to talk him out of
They
it.
were like, you shouldn't be doing this. Maybe we should just go for it for results. And he's like, nah, we got this. I'm the best.
Easy peasy.
And then he immediately is like, this is your fault.
I'm tired of you sticking your needles in me. And it's just like tough.
I mean, I guess it's like classic narcissist behavior, right? Like it's never the narcissist's fault. It's everyone else around them.
Yeah, and like I said, like that idea isn't necessarily bad. It's
No.
just like the execution of most of the ideas in this movie aren't very good.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that because like definitely like partway through, I'm like I'm all right with like exploring sexual harassment and further in media because I think it can be important and a really good storytelling tool. It has to be framed properly and there has to be a reason beyond shock or voyeur or whatever. And there are like it's a decent enough exploration of like narcissistic behavior, but it doesn't really do a whole lot of positive messaging with it. Apart from if you're a narcissist, you'll die one day, maybe by the hands of your own decision making. Mm-hmm. And it's just there are good pieces here that we'll talk about the 2020 Invisible Man that just kind of do everything a lot better. Like I can definitely see where the pieces were picked up from this movie going into the 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But we can talk about that in a bit when we get there.
Or right now, 'cause I think that's where we're going.
I think that's where we're going.
Yeah, I will say
segue.
I will say before we go to the next one, if you wanted to watch like a movie that deals with similar themes as this by the same director, that's actually great. Elle from 2016, starring Isabelle Huppert, is really fucking good. I really enjoyed it, and it's also like incredibly uncomfortable because the whole thing is about like sexual assault. She's like sexually assaulted in her home in like the middle of the night, and it's about her doing that and trying to get revenge, but also just trying to live through that trauma. And it's a really good movie. So this one is like even more of a misfire for me, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? Because going into this, I'm like, I've seen RoboCop, that was good. I've seen Elle, that was good. What? And then Hollow Man, I was just like, what the fuck? So yeah.
This is someone's favorite movie.
Pierre, that's why you're going to give this one a 6 out of 10. You love this movie.
I'm going to give this a 4.
Okay. That's what I actually thought, but I was like hoping you were a liar.
I like how much of a villain he was, just because I like it when it's clear who a villain is. And it's almost comical in how evil they were at points. But not in a ha-ha comical way, like Invisible Man, where they're causing some terror. Just like in a, yo, they're just making this guy the worst. They're really shoveling it on. Just like Joe's going to shovel on a heaping helping of 9 out of 10. I'm assuming closer to like a 2, 3. 2? Like, you like this?
I like
3 out of 10. You like this movie?
Like London said, I think the effects are pretty cool, pretty fun. I don't know why the skeleton showed, because blood don't flow through skeleton, but no, that's actually...
No, your blood...
Blood goes through skeleton?
Well, blood just transmits to cells to oxygen, and the cells in your bones need oxygen. Everything needs oxygen.
I guess sure. I failed biology. I didn't fail biology. I did fine biology. I just don't remember.
I'm pretty sure your bones are where, like, blood cells are fabricated in the marrow.
Yeah.
So
I don't fucking know what I'm talking about.
I don't have
down
any bones. So
yeah. No, I like the sequence. Like,
bone zone?
no, like I like the transformation sequences. Pretty fun. And like I said, like there are like good pieces that are like can be picked from, and I think those parts are decent. Everything else around it is just not good. That's like Thomas. Solid 2.
Is that 1?
3. 10 out of 10?
Big 4?
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this definitely had the potential to be a 5, but the gratuitous nature of it definitely brought it down a peg for me. But even with that, I don't think that, like, most of the movies, like, too far gone. I think it just manages to right under the radar, you know? You would give this, I don't know, 3? A 1.
No, a 4.
Oh.
I'd also give this a 4. No, I agree with you, and I agree with Pierre, and Joe's wrong.
That's fair.
All right, let's talk about Leigh Whannell, or however you pronounce his name, and his production of The Invisible Man from 2020, starring everybody's favorite Scientologist, Elizabeth Moss.
She's a Scientologist.
Yeah, she's like the queen of Scientology. She's great. She's fantastic.
Do you think...
She's got to be trying to get out. Watching this movie, I'm like, she's saying something here.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that that or maybe just Universal's got like a class with the Scientology community? Because Tom Cruise was the star of The Mummy, which was the movie in the dark universe before this one.
True. Scientology all about mummies.
So this one, guess what? There is an invisible man. This one has some big key differences. It's not about the invisible man. It's about the people he affects. It's about his girlfriend.
Was I the only one that heard that?
I heard something. I just ignored it.
Everybody looked over at Pierre all at the same time.
Anyway.
So this is the movie that Pierre didn't watch.
Yeah, so Pierre, do you want to... You can just go out there. There's pizza. Go ahead.
Pizza!
Get out.
Oh, I want to be your podcast.
Get the fuck out.
Then engage with us! Don't play Arknights on your phone!
I'm engaging with you.
Just kidding. Pierre can be on camera still. So the main character, at the very beginning of the movie, she escapes from her abusive boyfriend, who pretty much lives in a compound, and she escapes, and then a couple days later, she finds out that he's dead. She's like, wow, I can start living my life again. But things start going awry, and it's like, wait a minute. This bitch is invisible. And he's pretty much... Yes, Pierre?
So the reason I'm staying here is because I want to know how they get invisible. Is it ever explained?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You'll actually like this!
Okay, I'll stay and listen to this.
Okay. Joe, I like your belly.
Because I wasn't sure if it's like, he's invisible now, don't think about it.
No, Pierre, you'll like what happens, like, involving the invisibility.
Yeah, so she's convinced that he's just, like, messing with her and he's still alive, and she's pretty much being isolated by everyone that cares about her. Somebody's sending messages to her sister. Somebody hit she's staying with her sister's, like, friend and his young daughter, his, like, high school age daughter, and somebody, like, hits the daughter while she's in the room with Cecilia.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she's just being isolated, and eventually she, like, is attacked by him, and it's revealed that, yeah, there is an invisible man here. It's not just, like, psychosis or something. And it just kind of gets worse and worse for her after that. She escapes, and she's like, I need to go to his house. And she goes to the house, and she finds the Invisible Man's suit. And it is a suit made up of hundreds of cameras.
And, like, reflective technology.
So instead of chemistry, it's now
technology.
Like hardware.
He's a technomancer.
He's a technomancer.
He's basically like the Predator.
Yeah. Oh, and also, at the beginning of the movie, when she escaped and they found out about his death, his brother, the abusive boyfriend's brother, is like, hey, I represent my brother's trust. He's giving you $5 million as a part of the will, and she was going to be receiving it in installments. This is an important part to point out.
So is the brother set up to be like some kind of like techno genius, or
runs. He's like a millionaire because of like tech.
Okay. Because I was like, in my mind, I was picturing this trailer park dude named Jesse who owns a pickup truck.
He happened to find him.
Somehow has like this Mysterio suit from Spider-Man. He can make illusions and go invisible.
San Francisco, he's like set up to be like a Silicon Valley like millionaire.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she hides the suit. She goes back. She's like, sister, I figured out he's gotta be alive. And they go to meet at like a public restaurant, and he fucking just grabs a knife and slits her throat, and then just shoves it into Cecilia's hand.
So if she finds his suit, does she not take it?
She hides it.
She hides it
in his house.
Yeah.
Why?
He has 2 suits.
Why in his house?
Well, he's in there. He's chasing her at that moment.
Yeah.
So he's chasing her. She sees the suit. She grabs the suit.
Well,
throws it like on top.
She arrives shortly before he does. She knows he's about to get back.
Yeah, she's got a head start.
And instead of destroying the suit, maybe.
Well, just
hides it.
Just stay tuned.
Maybe you should have watched the movie.
Maybe you should watch the movie, Pierre. We could have watched the movie today.
No, this is what the audience is going to be asking while they're listening to the podcast, because I'm assuming no one else watches the movie.
A lot of people watch these movies. at least 3 people I know that listen
What are
to
you
this.
people doing?
Pierre hates the fans.
Explain the whole movie to you.
We don't go like scene for we explain the broad strokes and we talk about like more in-depth stuff that we liked or didn't like. But somebody doesn't listen past the intro parts.
Anyway, he gives her the knife after killing her sister.
Yeah, and then she's sent to like a mental ward because she's like, "Oh, the Invisible Man did it," and he did, but nobody believes her.
Just like Candyman.
Yeah,
Just like
Was no one else at the restaurant?
no, there were a bunch of people, but the only thing people saw was a dead body and a woman
and her holding the knife. Anyway, after that, the brother shows up and he's like, "Hey." Because she also finds out when she first arrives to this mental ward that she is pregnant. Mm-hmm. And the brother's like, "Hey, if you go back to him, he'll drop everything. He'll make sure you're okay." Revealing that, yeah, the brother's alive. That Adrian? Is that his name?
Adrian was the guy's name, yeah.
That Adrian's still alive. And she's like, "Fuck you." And she like steals a pen from him. And when she gets back to her room, she's like, I'm not letting you have the baby or me. And she starts slitting her wrists with the pen. And then he stops her and he's like, "Ah!" She's like, "Gotcha!" Just starts stabbing the cameras with the pen. So then he starts being like, "Oh, you can see parts of him and parts of him are invisible." And then she's like being attacked and the security guard walks in and he's like, "Get back to bed." And he turns around and he just sees this like camera guy and like half of his body's not there. He's like, and he gets wrecked. And then there's like a cool action sequence where he starts wrecking a bunch of guards, shooting people. And then she grabs a gun and goes after him. And then this all ends up with him going after the daughter of the friend. And he beats the shit out of the other guy, whatever his name was. My boy. He was nice. But she kills him. And what? It was the brother, not Adrian? And Adrian's been locked in his house this whole time? And like the movie heavily implies, it's not up for debate. Like, no, Adrian was behind this. He's simply using his master gaslighting tactics.
Yeah.
So she's like, I can't live with him still alive and with him doing this. But she's like, she convinces her friend, who is a cop, that she's like, hey, we should get him on tape, like, confessing to this crime. So she goes there, and she goes and takes the Invisible Man suit that he was hiding, and she murders him. But she makes it seem like he killed himself. And then she's just off to the side where the cameras aren't, and she's like dancing. She's like, fuck you. Not really, but kind of.
Yeah, she's like very, like, obviously, like, taunting him.
And then she calls the police. She's like, oh no! And she plays it up, and then she walks away. And the friend's like, you never wanted him to live, did you? And she's like, I just didn't know how unstable he was.
She was like, like, all I heard was he killed himself.
This is my third time watching this movie. I really like this movie. There's some really, really cool stuff. There's some really cool, like, shots in this.
Oh, yeah, no, the camera work, like, during some of, like, the sequences, the chase sequences, a couple of the fight sequences, the camera just, like, floats around and does some crazy shit. The
director of this had previously directed the movie Upgrade, which was like this action movie, which I haven't seen, but I've seen a couple sequences from it. And it's like, yeah, he just did Upgrade in The Invisible Man. Like, the sequences when he's fighting those security guards in the mental ward are, like, pretty sick. There's some pretty cool stuff. And in general, I really like the suit design. I really like... I think there is quite a lot of suspense in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
That first sequence is pretty horrifying to watch.
Yeah.
And I think this is the most impactful, like, thematically of the Invisible Man movies. Cause, like, the first one's really good, but it's funny. And
it's like, it's goofy.
And most of the time, the biggest thing it has to say is, like power mad people given that power will just eventually start killing. While this one is like my favorite thing to explore in
it's
horror.
Really, really complicated.
Yeah. And it's my favorite thing to explore in horror, which is like how we get through trauma and how we can use trauma like to our benefit, I guess. Yeah, and I really like this movie. The scene where she pours the paint and he's suddenly there, that fucking got me in the theater. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that got me a little bit as well.
I want to say when I saw this in theater, I was like one of like 5 people in there. And I was like,
Yeah, because this was 2020, so this would have been...
right before, pre-pandemic. This was like January of 2020.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
it feels like a billion years ago now, though.
We're 2 years away from the beginning of... Or we're like nearly 2 years away from the beginning of 2020, which is weird to think about.
Yeah. I don't know, Thomas, what did you think?
I thought it was good. Yeah, like, I liked the atmosphere. I liked the action sequences. I like that it was exploring the victim's perspective as opposed to the last couple movies where it's like kind of like half and half, but it doesn't really like dive really deep into either one. And I'm excited to see The Invisible Woman if they decide to do that, because I know that they were talking about potentially doing that.
Mm-hmm. 4 character?
Yeah.
If I had one main critique, and this might even be intentional, I don't even know, with how meticulous Adrian's character seemed, I highly doubt he wouldn't notice one of his suits going missing, and I feel like he'd be anticipating, like, this attack, like, from her character. Cecilia? Is that her character?
Cecilia.
Yeah. And it seems a little out of character that he wouldn't be, you know?
I understand that perspective, but from my viewing, I feel like he's so, like, enraptured in this idea that he controls everything about her, that he's such this power-hungry guy that when she comes back, he's completely blinded by this idea. He's like, yeah, I've won. And he can't wrap his head around the idea that a woman could best him.
Well, and, like, he probably is, like, cocky at that point anyway, because there was a bit of dialogue when the fight was breaking out in the mental ward where he's like, you think you've learned a thing or two. Like, it very obviously feels like, nah, I'm in the driver's seat. You know nothing. You can't stop me. Even when you think you can stop me, I've been anticipating this. Like, I can definitely see where that could be a pitfall. Definitely. But I think I line more on the line of, like, super cocky, no way this could have happened. You know?
And I feel like he does know that the suit's missing, but he just, at that point, just assumes, I think that she probably just threw it away or, like, destroyed it or something.
Or alternatively...
Go ahead.
Or alternatively, when he does notice the suit is missing, and that's when he employs his brother to start doing suit antics. That way he can, like, more believably, like, fake his death. Because he did look a bit skinny when they found him. So, could definitely be that. Like, okay, you think you got me, I'm going to move 2 steps ahead of you now.
And I think it also works in the sense that it's showing, like, even from the beginning, as much as he wanted to be in control of situations, he didn't know everything. Like, she did escape originally. She did find these things. And there were places in his own house where he didn't, like, know to look. So I think it just adds to the idea that he was a supremely cocky guy, who was just a misogynist.
The ultimate movie villain.
I mean, a lot of movie villains are.
Yeah. Well, and as I mentioned earlier, I think this movie definitely picks up a lot of the good parts of Hollow Man and explores them immensely. You know, the crazy egomaniac that wants to control everything and wants to be in power, the sexual assault and like framing it in the victim's perspective is fantastic. And, you know, it's very obviously implied and almost directly in, like, some of the bits of dialogue in the beginning where it's like, the friend is like, did he hit you? And she's like, yeah, amongst other things. And it's like, fairly obvious what happened there. Yeah. But I think changing that frame of view, like, helps out a lot with the story and makes it more empowering than anything else. Which is really good. And also, like, the conclusion is hella satisfying.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite, like, cinematic good for her moments. I'm like, yeah, good for her.
Yeah, no, like, the ending scene where she, like, walks off camera and she, like, puts the phone down and starts to crack the smile, and you're like, hell yeah. That's the good shit right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I like the idea that this is kind of like if Kevin Bacon were able to get out of the suit and then get back to being visible and somehow got away with it and just founded a giant tech company. Because, like, kind of like a bit of a logical extreme. It made sense. Yeah.
I also watched the hallway fight a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I've seen better fights in hallways.
I mean, I have too. There are tons of great fights in
Would
hallways.
be better is if she had the invisible suit, he had his invisible suit on, and the camera just like shifting around like they're having a really crazy fight somewhere, and there's just nothing on screen.
Speaking of cameras, just nothing on screen. I really do love that a lot of the movie is so like just slow with its just pan over to just an empty doorway or something there, like implying that there is something there that we cannot
and there's
see.
lots of shots where like you'll be in a room with the characters and then suddenly like you'll be shift to a perspective that's like out in the back of the hallway and the sound's like a lot fainter and quieter, like you are Adrian watching them.
You are Adrian.
Like stuff like that.
Yeah, because like obviously going into a movie called Invisible Man, there's going to be someone who's invisible. And I think, especially like the scene where she's like cooking breakfast, and that was Adrian that set the heat up, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
So if you look, you can see it go.
Okay, because I was like looking like kind of everywhere for like, okay, something is gonna happen here, and then the fire went. I'm like, I missed what was going on, but obviously that was happening. But like, you know, just action scene, character doing something, character gets called off screen for whatever, and then just like it stays there.
Yeah.
Was fantastic. It added so much suspense to it.
Do you think this movie would have been better if they didn't call him the Invisible Man? Just like you didn't realize the threat was going to be an Invisible Man, like it was some other movie.
No.
What? No. What?
Like if you didn't know he was going to be invisible, if it was just called like Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yeah.
2. Yeah.
The Fault in Our Stars 8.
Yeah. But yeah, I really like this movie. This is one of my favorite like modern horror movies in the last like few years. It's definitely like made me feel things when I saw it in the theater. I'm like, oh, that's genuinely like disturbing or suspenseful or riveting. Yeah, I really like this movie.
And even though I had my little rant about like slashers earlier, like the Invisible Man was stopped with a gun. He was just a dude.
I mean, that's
but again, like I think that's probably the better side of like the whole human thing. Like a human did this, like that. I do value that part in slashers. It's just like feels a little over the top for me sometimes. So I'm like, I get that's the part of it. It's the cheese, but I'm like,
All right, Thomas. I think you'll also give this one a 7.
Yeah. Joe, you will give this one a 9.
Yeah. London, I think he this a 10 earlier. I think you're probably gonna give this a 9.
For a second, I was right there with you, and I remembered you didn't watch.
You didn't watch the movie. You don't get a 7.
I would also give this a 9. Pierre, you would give this
2 clips from the movie on my phone.
Pierre, you would give those clips a 6.
I go like 4, maybe a 5.
Okay.
You also hyped up the paint scene, and I watched it. They just threw paint on the guy. Maybe it's because I knew that they were going to throw paint on the guy.
Yeah.
But that goes back to the thing of like, if you didn't know it was called the Invisible Man, and out of nowhere, an Invisible Man shows up.
No, I think
you would be yo.
I think with the whole camera work and like it's sitting around, it's like you don't know when or what is gonna happen.
Well,
as
no,
they,
you see that weird camera work, and you don't know what's going on. And then you
that's
put it
good.
Together, it's like, oh god, there's a man there.
All right,
There's a man.
we did it. Thomas, what are we watching next week? We watching the Slumber Party Massacre and the remake that just came out? Apparently it's good!
That's real tempting, because I really like the Slumber Party Massacre movies. But, I don't know. Yeah, because I guess if we cover the sequels, we can cover 2 and 3 in their own episode. But I feel like we should probably finish the trend that we've started to... Nah.
I mean, we can do whatever you want. I'm just joking.
Let me think. Let me think about it for like 2 seconds.
The
here.
Ring versus the Grudge.
All right. We'll do Slumber Party Massacre 1 and the remake.
Cool.
Because I did want to watch that this week.
Slumber Party Massacre by Amy Holden Jones from 1982, and Slumber Party Massacre from 2021, made by Danishka Esterhazy. Oh, the director of the Banana Splits movie. Heard that movie wasn't great.
Yeah, that doesn't instill hope.
But hopefully this one's good. Haven't seen Slumber Party Massacre. Thomas says it's the best movie ever made, so...
I think out of the 3, 2 is the best, but,
2 is the best. Deborah Brock. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. As always, thanks for watching Screen Weens. And tell your motherfucking grandma.